That is the issue we're going to deal with all up until November, is that Kamala is going to be able to say whatever the hell she wants, and there is going to be no pushback on it because the media won't hold her accountable, because the media's hate of Trump outweighs Kamala's lies right now.
As Hilton said, that California law ought to chill people to the bone if they have children. That made it illegal for schools to tell parents that kids want to gender transition or be called by a different pronoun. It made it illegal. They are trying to drive a wedge between parents and their children. They are anti-family.
All right, guys, I hope you had a great weekend. We have 99 days until the election. This is going to be a sprint, and my guess is that we haven't seen the last turn. Amazing panel discussion headed your way today. I want to talk about the Olympics and the backlash. I hope you've all seen this Last Supper depiction. And then, obviously, I want to talk to you about JD Vance and the attacks that are coming on him and where I think we should be attacking Kamala Harris even more so. All right, before we get going, I want to tell you about my friends at Beam. I use their Dream Powder every night to fall asleep and to stay asleep. This has all the stuff that you hear about all the time. Melatonin, magnesium, reishi, theanine, all that stuff into one amazing powder. And the cool thing is it tastes fantastic. I love the cinnamon cocoa. Now there's a brownie one that's equally good. I've had them both. They're amazing. I just take a scoop of it, put it in a coffee cup, about a half a cup of water. Some people like milk. I'm a water guy. I stir it, put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. And then 30 minutes before I go to bed is about the right time, because trust me, you'll be ready to fall asleep about 30, 45 minutes later. And it is a good sleep. You're not waking up feeling groggy, any of that kind of stuff. I love this stuff because it's got all those natural ingredients in a really great tasting formula. You will not ever be disappointed when this happens. So go to shopbeam.com/Spicer and use code Spicer for up to 40% off. I'm telling you, you will never go back to anything else. This is part of my nightly routine now. One little scoop, some water, 30 seconds in the microwave. Check it out and try it. All right, before we get into it with the panel, Hilton Beckham is here from America First Policy Institute. Plus, she served in the Trump White House. Then Chris Stigall of Philadelphia Morning Radio and the Chris Stigall podcast, both amazing. A lot to get to, and with the Harris campaign, their attacks on JD Vance and JD Vance's response, which is the most effective. But before I get that, a point of personal privilege. Look what came in the mail. It's still in the package. This is the YouTube plaque to the Sean Spicer Show for passing 100,000 subscribers. A true testament to all of you. Thank you for everyone who has signed, subscribed, shared, hit that notification button, but also join us every night for that 6 o'clock premiere. You know who you are. Hart, Barbara, Carter. You're all friends and you're all so helpful to me, and I appreciate that. Thank you for this milestone. I greatly appreciate it. It's like the Emmys. It's all because of you. Thank you so much. All right, a lot to get to. What attacks are working on Kamala Harris? What do we need to do better? How can we win 99 days out? Let's bring in the panel. All right, I hope you both had a good weekend, but I don't think, despite medal counts, etc., the Olympics did not start off the way that it was supposed to. I don't know. You know, the funny thing is, let me just start with this. I haven't watched any of it. I know someone had the basketball game in on the back. I don't feel, I know some people are posting they're excited about the Olympics, Chris, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I'm into the summer. Maybe it's because they started off on the wrong foot, but I'm not digging the Olympics this year.
I must confess, if I'm going to watch Olympics, it's going to be winter over summer, and I'm really just not, I was never into it, to be clear. To be perfectly honest, I was never into it. But if I were inclined to tune into it and saw what we saw at these opening ceremonies, I'd turn it off just as fast. No doubt about it.
Hilton, the beginning seemed to me like they do this opening scene that caught fire because it depicted, I mean, I don't know how, like, we'll get into what they're saying now, but it was pretty obvious that it was an attempt to mimic Da Vinci's Last Supper.
Yeah.
From that, I was just like, okay, I don't know. I mean, it's like a trailer for a movie. If the trailer sucks, I usually don't want to go see the movie. And I felt like, I don't know. I just don't, it didn't do it for me. It didn't pop. I didn't even see it. I missed the opening ceremonies. All I heard about was this. I saw it online. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, take out that it was just a mockery of the Christian belief. Of course it was, even though they're denying it. But this doesn't meet the moment for the Olympics. Okay, people train their whole lives to go to the Olympics to take home the gold. Like, this is a serious business and it takes over people's lives. If you could give a trophy to that performance, that would have been a participation trophy. Like, that doesn't win any kind of outstanding performance. It was absolutely awful. I just saw pictures circulating around about drag queens, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever, the left's doing what they're going to do. Had no idea it was related to the Olympics and was in complete shock when I figured out that the two were connected.
They issued, I mean, you mentioned they issued what I like to call a non-apology.
Yep.
And I'm sort of like, I love analyzing apologies because Washington, D.C. does non-apologies better than anybody. And I feel like when you're sorry, it's like, Chris, I'm sorry that I said the things that I did. It was not my intention. I realize now that what I said was horrible and it hurt your feelings. And I heartfeltly apologize. I mean, to me, that's, you acknowledge that what you did hurt somebody else. And therefore you express and ask for their forgiveness. This is sort of like, clearly there was never intention to show disrespect. The opening ceremony tried to celebrate community tolerance. First of all, it's Olympics. It should be celebrating like prowess and strength. And like, we believe this ambition was achieved. Okay, so they actually say that it was successful. If people have taken any offense, we're really sorry. So if people have taken offense to us depicting the Last Supper with a bunch of drag queens, and by the way, one of the drag queen who is Jewish, queer, and lesbian, who played Jesus in this depiction, labeled the performance New Gay Testament on Instagram.
That's right.
So the idea that it wasn't intending to be offensive or that they didn't know this was going to happen doesn't pass the smell test. The main person says that's what they were going for, Chris.
Yeah, I think that fat chick pretending to be Jesus meant to be at the Ozempics, not the Olympics.
Oh, I was starting to be like Christian and kind, and Chris Stigall going straight for the gut. Holy smokes.
Literally.
At that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this is interesting, Hilton. Jillian Michaels, you remember her? She did The Biggest Loser, very fitness guru kind of whatever. She posted, and I thought this is interesting. Dear fellow gays, we demand tolerance and respect, but then make a mockery of something sacred for over 2 billion Christians. This type of hypocrisy and lack of understanding is a bad look. We get outraged when the extreme right bashes us. But then we do this expletive. What kind of reaction do you think they'll have towards the LGBTQ plus community after this? This is not how we break down barriers if you build them.
Yeah, and she was absolutely correct. I mean, they are asking for the very thing that they won't dole out themselves. They're asking for acceptance and tolerance, but they won't tolerate Christian belief. And this is my, litmus test for them. Try doing this with any other religion. They would not even dare to do this with the Muslim community, with Islam, because they would think it's very disrespectful to Muslims. But they'll do it without blinking an eye towards Christianity because they've hated us, and there's always been this hatred and an okay to hate towards Christians, especially here in America.
All right, I hate to interrupt this conversation, but I want to tell you real quick that just like I just jumped in, things can happen all the time. And that's why being prepared is critical. And the cool thing is I'm prepared. I have a Patriot Power Generator 2000X in my house. And if you go to 4patriots.com/Spicer, you can get one too. Now, there's a lot of generators that are on the market. Anybody can go out and buy one. I used to have one that was gas powered. When we had a spell that we were out of power because a natural disaster came through and knocked down all the power lines, we were without power for weeks. I had to run out, fill up the gas tank every few hours, power the thing back up, then try to be ready to do it again every few hours. You couldn't keep the generator in the house. With a Patriot Power Generator 2000X, you can bring it inside your house. It's completely portable, and it runs on solar panels that come free with it. So you don't have to run out to the gas station. You don't have to worry about noise or fumes. The Patriot Power Generator is so powerful, it can run for hours with the most powerful things, the refrigerator, your TVs, your computers, medical devices, you name it, tablets, all of those things. And because it's portable, you can take it to a friend's house, a family member's house. You can even bring it on the road with you if you need. But don't wait. Go to 4patriots.com right now /Spicer and get your Patriot Power Generator 2000X so that you will be ready when an emergency hits. Yeah, Chris, the funny thing is, Bishop Barron, Word of Fire, had this hot take the other day, and then he posted this video today about the reaction, this non-apology that I'm talking about. I want to play just a minute of it for everyone to understand the outrage that he shared.
This is Bishop Barron. You know, a few days ago I did a video complaining about this outrageous opening ceremony at the Olympics, and the video went viral, and frankly I had no intention of returning to the issue until this morning. I saw the so-called apology from the organizing committee, and I thought it's anything but an apology. In fact, it's kind of a masterpiece of woke duplicity. And so I just wanted to say a few things, because if they felt this is meant to mollify Christians, I would think again. Here's some of the things that were said. Clearly, there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. Give me a break. So we have a group of drag queens cavorting in a kind of sexually provocative way, clearly an imitation of Da Vinci's Last Supper, which presents to the world the Last Supper of Jesus. And no disrespect was meant. You think anyone takes that seriously? I love this. We tried to celebrate community tolerance. Yeah, tolerance. Except for those pesky 2.6 billion Christians on the planet.
So Chris, the thing that I thought was interesting, I was texting some media folks over the weekend, and I'm like, the Dems, like, I hope the right picks up on this. And the first answer I got from some of the media types is, what are you talking about? And I'm like, this backlash about the opening ceremony. Oh, do you have anything on it? I'm like, what? You guys got to be kidding me. Like, everybody on the right that I have seen was expressing some degree of outrage or disgust about this. And yet, and I'm thinking, oh, devout Catholic Joe Biden, he's going to come out and say something, right? I mean, like, this is the fundamental issue that I see over and over again. There's an attack, as Hilton pointed out. You go after the Catholics and the Christians, and it's a free pass. It's like, what are you talking about? I didn't even see it. No one cares. If this had been an attack on some made-up religion that a bunch of people on the internet practiced, there would be outraged. And yet 2 billion Christians, and it's like, I don't even know what you're talking about from the media. And no one, the Biden administration hasn't had to put out a statement. The Olympics didn't respond till today. I mean, they've gotten pass after pass. It wasn't until a couple corporations said anything that they did anything.
Well, it's because as Christians, and this is biblical, we've been marginalized since the very beginning, and we understand that, and we're called to react peaceably, speak, but we don't get violent. I mean, and that's what
I'm not violent, but what about an answer, Chris? Like, what about having to say, hey, Joe Biden, you keep talking about being a devout Catholic. Are you offended by this? Your wife, Jill, is over there. Are you guys going to put out a statement? I mean, to Hilton's point, if this had been, they would have unequivocally put out a statement. If they had attacked Muslims, they would have been outraged. She would have left in protest.
Oh, sure.
And yet a pass. They don't even have to acknowledge that it happened.
No, but then, of course, you're talking about a guy. I mean, if you're talking specifically about Joe Biden, you're talking about a guy who says that, butchering children and chemically castrating kids is letting them live up to God's given potential for them in a State of the Union address. So this is not exactly a guy that understands the good book. He's also as pro-abortion as they come. So if you're looking for a Christian compass, I wouldn't look for it in the Biden family.
Yeah. Hilton, to your point, like, it's funny, like I always joke with people that when I was at the RNC, if little Timmy at Thomas Jefferson Middle School offended somebody, they'd call the RNC and ask us to weigh in. And I'm not kidding. That's literally, there were days in which I'm like, I don't even know what you're like. That's ridiculous. This is some state senator and you're calling the RNC. And they were like, well, there's outrage on the online and whatever. And I'm like, here we are getting worldwide condemnation, right? And no one in the US, NBC didn't have to respond to it. Why not NBC? Why not any of these guys? And so Hilton, it's like, are we just not putting enough pressure? But I felt like when I brought this up with the media type saying, are you guys even asking them? The answer was, oh, what are you talking about? We didn't even
No,
see
it's
it.
like we're afraid to fight fire with fire. We've always this is the problem with Republicans. We've always kind of taken the back seat and just gotten whipped around. This is the same thing that's happening with white males. You know, they're the ones who are getting, pushed around. They're getting cut out of jobs because there's too many of them. You can disrespect white males, white cisgender males, all you want, and you get a pass to do it. But you do that to a minority, you do that to a Hispanic woman, a black male, you're going to get all heat and hellfire from the left because of it. And I think it's going to take a lot of people. Like, it just completely shocks me that you said no one knew what to say about it. This is where we have to punch hard. Like, they're disrespecting our religion, but we should respect our own religion and punch back.
Yeah, well, and that's why I love what Bishop Barron did. I mean, he got out there and he made it very clear that this is unacceptable, and he did it. He wasn't attacked. I mean, it was just, I think, very matter of fact, and I appreciate that. I want to get into like JD Vance and Kamala Harris, this whole back and forth. Before I do that, though, obviously, I always like getting Chris your Pennsylvania perspective, and there's been a lot of undercurrent about what happened in Pennsylvania. President Trump saying he's going to return to Butler to honor Corey and the other two individuals that were shot, and to kind of, I think, just maybe do something for Butler. But what I see these videos now about Butler local police and Beaver County police having videos. What's going on? Are we just missing the national story? Is there more going on in Pennsylvania on updates as far as the assassination attempt that we're just not seeing? Or are you guys getting like the complete blackout there too?
No, there are a couple of interesting stories. One, just because I think we ought to put it out there, Gavin Newsom visited 2 miles away on the day that this guy that shot at Donald Trump, the day that guy started researching this on his phone was the same day that Gavin Newsom showed up 2 miles from his house talking about, taking out Donald Trump and we got to stop this fascist and all of this business. So that's sort of an interesting story. Nobody's talking.
So wait, I didn't even know. Now I sound like the person, the media person. I know. So is it that this kid Crooks attended a Gavin Newsom talk where he said it? Is that, or is there just speculation? I hadn't heard of this.
There's speculation. It's an interesting coincidence that the kid starts.
But wait, is it coincidence? Like, so Gavin was there, but is there anything that puts that kid there?
Nothing that puts him there. Just the same day he starts researching. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Just putting that out.
Is there anything else? Like, I feel like as far as the communication failures,
cops. Butler cops, the Pennsylvania State Police, as well as the Butler County community, these cops are speaking out, and they're saying, you're not going to sandbag us. You're not going to hang this around our neck. We didn't have anything to do with, we alerted you guys. We were telling you guys we saw this guy 3 different times. New York Times now reporting 90 minutes. They were aware of this guy and being suspicious of this guy for 90 minutes. And the FBI, you've seen the body cam footage of them kind of confused and discombobulated. Local law enforcement in Pennsylvania wants to make it abundantly clear. The Secret Service has been trying to throw them under. The FBI has been trying to throw them under, and they're not having it. And they're speaking. Well,
also, I mean, the fact of the matter is, they are there to play a supporting role. Like that's not their jurisdiction when a protectee comes in from the Secret Service. And so this is going to be hard. I get it. I mean, I said this from the jump. This is going to be a finger pointing exercise, and no one does it better than DC. All right, Hilton, I want to move on to JD Vance and Kamala Harris, because there's a lot that I think deserves merit. Going into the weekend, the big question was, how's JD going to answer to this resurfaced clip of him calling women without children cat ladies, which, again, that's not what he said if you actually listen to the whole clip. And so he goes on Megyn Kelly. I just want everyone to hear how he answered the accusation that his comments were offensive. Take a listen to what he said to Megyn.
I know the media wants to attack me and wants me to back down on this, Megyn, but the simple point that I made is that having children, becoming a father, becoming a mother, I really do think it changes your perspective in a pretty profound way. This is something, of course, we've recognized for hundreds of years in this country, that human civilization has always recognized. But there's a deeper point here, Megyn. It's not a criticism of people who don't have children. I explicitly said in my remarks, despite the fact the media has lied about this, that this is not about criticizing people who, for various reasons, didn't have kids. This is about criticizing the Democratic Party for becoming anti-family and anti-child. We We have to ask ourselves, Megyn, why do we have masking of toddlers years after the pandemic ended? Why do we have the Harris campaign coming out this very morning, Megyn, and saying that we should not have the child tax credit, which lowers tax rates for parents of young children? It's because they have become anti-family and anti-kid. And I'm proud to stand up for parents. And I hope that parents out there recognize that I'm a guy who wants to fight for you. I want to fight for your interests. I want to fight for your stake in the country. And that is what this is fundamentally about. The Democrats in the past 5-10 years, Megyn, they have become anti-family. It's built into their policy. It's built into the way they talk about parents and children. And it's time that we called that out. I don't think we should back down from it, Megyn. I think we should be honest about the problem.
All right. So Hilton, did he respond appropriately?
Yeah, he answered it perfectly. Listen, they're taking his sarcasm and they're blowing it out of proportion. I think if you really want to look into who's the protectors of families, look at the state of California right now, the state that Kamala is from. Look what Gavin Newsom just did with the schools, saying that, no, parents they don't have to be in the know if their child is going to go through a transition to another gender. They're completely cutting the parents out of their own child's life and making it a legal issue. He's completely attacking the right thing here, that the left is anti-family, anti-child. And you know what I think what grinds my gears the most about this is that Kamala Harris and them pointing at JD Vance being like, oh, he's weird, saying this whole childless cat comment thing. You know what's weird, Kamala, is that if we asked you what a woman is, you'd get all like, it's, and then if we asked you, can a man give birth? You would say yes. So don't give me this whole BS about, oh, JD Vance is weird with a sarcastic comment about a left agenda item when you can't even define what a woman is.
Chris.
Sorry. Off my
No, I want that's see, this is
it makes me so angry.
No, but see, this is the funny thing. For 3 days, all I heard was, this is the biggest deal ever. And I mean, again, I know JD, I know where his heart is, I know his fate, like how committed he is to his fate, and what his goal was, right? Which is this. He's saying, hey, I think that these people who are anti-family don't understand the reality of if we don't support families, you don't have a country. You can't have a generation. If you miss a generation, the country goes bye-bye. I was blown away by how big this became. Like everyone's like, JD's got to answer this.
Not only does he not need to answer it, I mean, I'm happy he went on to explain it. I'm happy to also help. First of all, I keep hearing people say,
I feel like that's like a tag team. Get Stigall in there. Get Stigall.
Yeah, no, I hear people say, oh, I have a cat. That's not, would you shut up? This is not about you owning a cat. Everybody knows what crazy cat lady means. And that means the lady who wouldn't, meet the standard of a wellness check if the Humane Society stopped by. It's not because you own a cat. That's not what this is about. This is about crazy people who have lots and lots of cats, first of all. Second, I agree with him. And as Hilton said, that California law ought to chill people to the bone if they have children. That made it illegal for schools to tell parents that kids want to gender transition or be called by a different pronoun. It made it illegal. They are trying to drive a wedge between parents and their children. They are anti-family. And I'll go one further and say, if you're childless, you don't belong on a school board. You shouldn't.
Oh, all right. Now, okay.
No. Listen to me. You do not have the right to tell families how to govern their children. When you choose to, like, you can't, fine. That's fine.
But I would just say this. Here, can I play that?
Choose to not. You cannot start dictating how children and families will deal with one another when you have chosen to sit it out. That's the way I feel, and I don't care.
No, but here's where I'll flip this. Right now, if you pay taxes, I mean, I'll play this just from a straight conservative standpoint. I feel like my kids, may not go to public school here where I live, but I still have a stake in it. I'm paying. They're raising my property taxes. I have a right to have a say in what they're doing because that affects A, how much money they take, B, the future of this. But if I just want to interrupt us for 1 second, because all this discussion about cats made me think of my buddy Leo Grillo. Leo Grillo founded Delta Rescue. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the videos that are on there. If you go to deltarescue.org, you can check it out. But it's not just cats. I mean, it's dogs and horses and all sorts of animals that Leo has given a place to get the nutritional and veterinarian care they need. It's a no-kill sanctuary for life. This isn't a shelter, some kind of way station. In fact, I know all this because Leo reminded me. I'd say he schooled me the first time when we talked about all of this and the great work that he's doing. He said, Sean, I want you to understand, these cats, dogs, horses, all sorts of animals come here. And he said, you got to go to deltarescue.org, take a look at the videos and the work that we've done. It's pretty amazing because they get the care that they need for life. The only reason, and the only way rather that this sustains is because Leo had a vision to do this, but then people who are animal lovers who've rescued dogs or cats or whatever, or just care, are making donations. Please go to deltarescue.org, check out the videos, make a donation. But more importantly, I really want to help Leo sustain this effort for a generation and decades to come. So look at that estate planning kit. It's like at the top, there's a pull down menu. Think about if you could make Delta Rescue part of your estate and your legacy. Thanks for your consideration. Again, at the very least, just go to deltarescue.org, check out the videos, and see the great work that Leo Grillo is doing. All right. I will say this. This goes back to the first conversation, the Olympics, right? They offend 2 billion Christians. And it's like, that wasn't our intent. We were just doing this. He makes a joke about cat people, cat ladies, which, to your point, that's like saying like he offended Karens, people named Karen, by calling some woman Karen. I mean, it's funny. Like, we all know, I think you're right about this description. These, but and the thing is, Harris, by the way, and Don Jr. put this out, has a video out there suggesting that young people shouldn't have children due to climate change. I want to pull up the video and show you this.
I've heard young leaders talk with me about a term they've coined called climate anxiety, right? Which is fear of the future and the unknown, of whether it makes sense for you to even think about having children, whether it makes...
That's what I was going with. That's my immediate thought. I was like, why are they getting so offended about being childless when they literally promote not having children because of climate change? It's like the weirdest thing. You're offended over us saying that you're childless? Like, this is your calling card, Dems.
But also, isn't it more than this? This is where I wish JD was a little sharper, right? Because he said it at the end, and I wish he had kind of led with this, which is the Democrats' policies, the left policies, and you're right, Hilton, it is a little climate change, but it's also when you have tax policies that don't help families, that undermine the transfer of wealth, meaning the estate tax and things like that. If I have a family farm or a family business and you don't help me continue. I was at a farm the other day, literally just buying corn, because I love in the summer buying. I mean, I only eat like 3 vegetables. So to be honest, half the time I'm buying it for my family because I won't eat it. But I did buy the corn because I do like that. And I was talking to this guy, Steven, who owns the farm, and he was telling me about the taxes that he's facing and how it's harder and harder, because of the, to sustain and I'm like, we should be promoting like things that keep family together, keep family businesses, promote having kids, promoting adoption, and it's like they fight us. And that's where I think JD's got the biggest leg to stand on here.
Well, and I'll also just throw in infanticide. These people love killing babies. They love killing babies at any stage, including after they've survived an attempted abortion. So, and we're told by those left-wing women that men have nothing to say about that.
Right.
So perfectly.
Unless the man is identifying as a woman.
To say about the way I raise mine.
Yeah.
The thing that was interesting to me is, and I want to show you the opposite, if we will, like what they're attacking, another attack that I feel like we're missing the boat here. I want to play this video. Kamala Harris questioned JD Vance's loyal to his country. This isn't taken out of context. That's it. Question his loyalty to his country. This is JD Vance's. Actually, let me just do this. Can we play the video of Kamala Harris attacking JD Vance?
Trump looked for someone he knew would be a rubber stamp for his extreme agenda, and make no mistake, JD Vance will be loyal only to Trump, not to our country.
I want to see, now let's play the video of his response. I want to play JD responding to Kamala.
I saw the other day Kamala Harris question my loyalty to this country. That's the word she used, loyalty. And it's an interesting word, simplify, loyalty. because there is no greater sign of disloyalty to this country than what Kamala Harris has done at our southern border. And I'd like to ask the Vice President, what has she done to question my loyalty to this country? I served in the United States Marine Corps. I went to Iraq for this country.
So, look, I think the funny part about this is, you know, you go back, Jen Psaki has a history of attacking. She was the White House mouthpiece, the first one under Biden. She attacked people who served at Space Force. She minimized their service. Here's Kamala Harris questioning JD's loyalty. It's a shame that he even has to say, I served in the Marine Corps and I went to Iraq. I mean, he didn't just, I mean, this guy enlisted, got sent to Iraq. I get a kick out of it. And again, maybe it's just my obsession today, but Hilton, where's the, like, you question, this woman has never served her country in uniform. And she questions JD's loyalty. He went to fight in another country for the freedom here so that we didn't bring terrorism here. And yet she has the gall to do this without consequence. No pushback. If JD didn't hit back, Hilton, nothing. No, there's no media response.
It would be 100% dead. And that's why, I mean, that is the issue we're going to deal with all up until November, is that Kamala is going to be able to say whatever the hell she wants. And there is going to be no pushback on it because the media won't hold her accountable, because the media's hate of Trump outweighs Kamala's lies right now. That is just the bottom line. They are going to let her get away with basically murder, say what she wants, because they want to paint JD Vance and Trump out to be the dictators and the threat to democracies that everyone on the left is claiming that they are.
Chris, how does this, I don't get it. How do you stand up there and say, question someone's loyalty who has served the country in uniform in the Marine Corps, gone to Iraq, and then face no backlash, and yet have the gall to go out there and be like, he called someone a cat lady?
Yeah. I think, you know, one of the things that I posted on X a couple of weeks ago, right after that Republican convention was, and it was something that got a lot of shares, actually, got a lot of traffic, and I was surprised at it. I made an observation that RNC convention to me was on display, accomplished, smart, intelligent, independent, beautiful, feminine women and strong alpha men. And that's what I took from it. And I saw it and I said that on X, and it was posted and reposted again. And you know what I'm coming to the conclusion of? That's what this country is hungry for. They're hungry for tradition and families, beautiful, smart, independent, feminine women and strong masculine men. And the left has been hijacking and attacking that for years and years and years, and we're sick to death of it. That's my hunch. I hope I'm right. I have no way of knowing that, but that's my hunch.
Hilton, what do you think?
I mean, no, I agree with that. It's just, I mean, the left has taken us down such a horrible road where everything is an offense. And I think people are sick and tired of it. And it's starting to break through. I still love Matt Gaetz's quote when, you know, the reporter was like, a lot of people are hurt by what you said about women. And he was like, well, be offended. I feel like we need to go back to that mindset. We're not going to appease everyone. And I think people are sick and tired of the way we've gone down this road. And if Kamala becomes president, it's only going to get 10 times worse. So I just really hope people see through the whole BS from the far left media and actually look at her track record and what she stands for. And
furthermore, somebody as tough as Hilton doesn't need this, but I would just say, if Kamala wants to play the first female card and in history and women and all of that, like, do you want to be treated as equal? And do you want to have a debate like an adult, or do you want to be sheltered and say, oh, I'm a girl, don't hit too hard? Like, what's it going to be? Because we can't play by two sets of rules.
I agree with you there. But like the whole childless cat comment thing, I would have listened to that. I would be like, okay, cool. I mean, I don't have kids. Like, I'm 31. I'm almost 32. I'm not married. Like, that would have gone right over my head. I would not take an offense to it. But the left, they just find everything to get offended by. And like they blow everything out of proportion. What I see, JD Vance is a man that can connect with so many demographics. I see that he was born in dirt poor, living situation, survived drug addiction, domestic abuse, went on to military, law school, started his own business, and now he's a senator. That's the kind of guy I want leading my country. I don't want a woman who plays the I'm black and I'm a woman, therefore give me a job card. And I don't want her as president. That doesn't inspire me for anything. So everything's been taken out of proportion.
By the way, in the Megyn interview, JD goes on to talk about, remember, he didn't grow up with a father. He had strong women around him that raised him. Then he marries this kick-ass, tough as nails prosecutor, Usha, and who is a woman of color. I mean, like the narrative, like they say stuff, they call him a racist that only wants to promote white women. And I'm like, dude, he's married to a woman of color who's pretty dark.
I would submit to you, the Trump-Vance ticket is surrounded by more incredibly accomplished, brilliant women than we've ever seen in a presidential ticket. I am more impressed by people that surround Trump and Vance.
Chris, this was the White House. I was laughing all the time about these women that were in senior positions, making discussions, standing up to President Trump. You had you think about all the members of the Jewish faith that were, from Gary Cohen to Ivanka to Jared, to Stephen Miller. I mean, I'll just keep going, right? Of all of these, Eli Miller, I mean, like all of these, Stephen Mnuchin. And yet they would talk about how he's anti-Jewish. And I'm like, dude, have you seen the people he surrounds himself with? Strong women, Jews. It's like, and yet they don't care about the attack. Like they would say that he surrounds himself with bad golfers if they thought, I mean, like they say whatever it is, they just know they won't be held accountable. And that's where like my constant pet peeve keeps coming back, which is if you could say things with impunity and just say them and know that no one's going to hold you accountable. It's like walking out and being like, I'm tired of the rain coming every day in the middle of record sunny days. Like they can say it because no one holds them accountable. And again, this is actually, I want to show you talk about not holding anyone accountable. And this is huge in Pennsylvania, in your world, Chris. Pennsylvania, 19 electoral votes. There's no question. If you look at the last couple elections, this is, we did the road to 270. This is going to be, I think, as goes Pennsylvania, it's almost, there goes the election. This is Kamala Harris on fracking. Take a look and then we'll talk about this.
I am committed to passing a Green New Deal, creating clean jobs, and finally putting an end to fracking once and for all.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah, and starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right? And then there has to be legislation. But yes, and this is something I've taken on in California. I have a history of working on this issue.
She's committed to this, and yet now she's anti-fracking. God, I wonder if, Chris, do you think, how does fracking play in Pennsylvania? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's huge, obviously, particularly in Western Pennsylvania, in rural Pennsylvania. I mean, it's creating jobs, meaningful salaried jobs in places that have had no meaningful salaried income and jobs in a very, very long time, first of all. That's exactly right. But also keep in mind, there's a governor that people are talking about, maybe she's looking at. And one of the things I love most about this I'm cheering on the Josh Shapiro pick. You know why? Because the American left is now calling him Genocide Josh. I think that'll be fascinating to watch.
All right, you went there.
Yes. I can't wait.
I think that Josh Shapiro's a great, I disagree. You're the Pennsylvanian. So I'll defer to you on this. I actually don't like, if I were her, I'd pick Josh Shapiro and make a play for Pennsylvania's 19 votes. You're telling me you want him?
Oh, I do. I'll tell you why. He may well bring Pennsylvania home, but you know what he might also do? He might also shave off enough of their Jew-hating left that it gives Trump.
I'm telling you, I talked to a buddy of mine very high up on the Democratic side, and his answer to me is, where are those people going to go?
Just sit it out?
No, they're not. They're not going to. You think this side, I'm telling you, they've come at Trump with everything. They've tried to kick him off the ballot. They've come at him with lawsuits. They passed the Russia hoax, the Steele dossier, and you think they're going to go, oh, we're upset about him because he picked Josh Shapiro? Are you kidding? I'm sorry.
Those Jew haters are pretty wily. I don't know if you've seen them on college campuses. Who knows what they'll do? You saw what they did to Washington, D.C. just last week. So I don't know, but I'm happy to hear them talk about it. If nothing else, it gives us a solid 6 months of anti-Semitism to discuss, which I'm thrilled on their side to expose.
I don't want Josh Shapiro. Hilton, am I wrong on this? Come over to the water. Water's warm over here. Seagal's got a whole freezing bathtub over there.
Okay, I get where he's coming from, because what about Dearborn, Michigan? What's going to happen with that? I can see how, majority of Americans support Israel and Jews, but Kamala's base hates them. So how is she going to answer for, yes, I picked a Jew who is very vocal and supportive of the Israel nation as my running mate? But the only thing too with Kamala as well is that she's married to a Jew. So I don't know if, people might give her some slack since it's already
it's just, I'm sorry. I think that one thing that vice presidents don't drive a lot. But Stigall, tell me if I'm wrong. This is prior to this whole meltdown the last 2 weeks. A month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, if I had asked a lot of Republicans that I know in Pennsylvania, a good number of them actually like the guy. In fact, there are a bunch of Trump administration folks. I disagree. Like, they went out and endorsed him last time, which
sure. Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, sure.
Who would be the best option?
He pretends to be a moderate like nobody's business. He's Mr. Get Excrement Done. I get it. Yes, true. All true. However, the one thing that he isn't is Kamala Harris. She's still at the top of the ticket. And
right.
Selena and I were just talking about this. And Selena believes that this person, Kamala Harris, plays just as well as Hillary Clinton did. She is phony. And I'll tell you somebody else she has problems with. Nobody's talking about black men. Philadelphia and Allegheny County black men are not going to get excited about this person, or Josh Shapiro for that matter. If Trump can cut into those margins, I think this whole Shapiro thing falls apart in my view.
Would Mark Kelly be the better option, Arizona? I just,
I don't. Here's the thing. If we lose Arizona, we can still win. I think if we lose Pennsylvania, which I am concerned. I mean, this is the thing. Stigall knows Pennsylvania really, really well. And at least I don't want to read into, I don't like putting words in people's mouths, but I'm not hearing you say that, like, that to me sounds like a much harder road to hoe if Josh Shapiro's on that ticket. I don't like it. So therefore I just don't want him. And then we'll go down the list of who else I don't want. But I don't want to make this any easier. I mean, the media pass has been insane. Just a real quick, I wanted to tell you guys, I have this pulled up. I've been going off about the media. This is what Ben Shapiro said. The media's overwhelming sycophancy for Harris is going to drive some serious backlash. Voters will be reminded just who she is and that she is not a moderate, tough on crime prosecutor or a kindly, cool auntie. She is a historically incompetent, radical leftist who lies consistently. That only happens if we're laser focused message wise. And I don't know that we are right now. And that worries 4 years of her. Oh my God. You thought
the American public is so gaslit or able to be gaslit that we forget that this withering old man 2 weeks ago said, I'm in it and I'm not going anywhere.
They did.
In 3 months, they can just lead us to believe that this failure of a vice president is now the top of the heap, like when she was the first out. Nobody wanted her the first time. Her own constituents didn't want her.
I'm just telling you, I get it. But everyone on the left was worried that they were like, God, we really want to vote for him and we love him, but he's just too old. And all they did was flip out somebody they don't care. This is the thing that I want to drive home. We all sit around like, oh, she said this. You watch this. They've erased her record, GovTrack, which tracks senators' ratings. Took it away. Her Wikipedia page, anyone who hasn't been paying attention suddenly looks at it and goes, oh, she's not that bad. They are whitewashing her record from her Senate race to her biography. They're making her seem, and that's why Shapiro's calling her auntie, because she's like this sweet person, according to them now. It's unbelievable. Hilton, I'm just telling you, I'm concerned that if we don't start to laser focus our message about what's wrong with her, we're going to be in trouble.
I know we need to laser focus our message. And I think that is what most of Republicans are doing, but we're already at a disadvantage with the media. That's just the problem. Like, we're always going to get the backlash of the far left media. So I don't know how, what kind of laser do we got to really focus in here? Because you're going against a brick wall.
I think Trump's been spectacular on that point. He's got ads that are devastating. Check it out. He's got an ad right now on her record featuring not a single Trump supporter. He's doing
the ads, the mailing. We have to circumvent them.
But that's what we need to do. Is everyone needs to look at that ad. They need to write it up and say, just say this. Stay focused on this and nothing else. All right, guys. What a way to kick off a Monday. I appreciate you being with us. We're obviously going to cover a lot all week. Peter Navarro is going to be with us later this week. He's going to talk about his new book. Plus, I want to ask him about his time in prison and what he thinks about the January 6th commission and what Congress should do to right that wrong. Anyway, continue to subscribe. You can always go to my Substack, SeanSpicer.com. Stay in touch with the newsletter. It comes out twice a week. Subscribe. You never know when we're going live. So hit that notification button. Subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeart, or wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.